kids, I understand that you're going to go to Washington, D.C., am I correct? Pretty soon. I had the chance, I'm Representative Lynn Finnegan, and I had the chance to go to Washington, D.C. with my children when they're your age. It was 3 years ago, and we went to Gettysburg, and we took a tour, and it was the most amazing thing because you could almost hear the trotting of the horses on the land as we were being taught as to what happened there at Gettysburg, and you could almost hear the heartbeat of that land and in just the stories that they told. And I want you, when you go to DC and you see the statue of Abraham Lincoln and you see all of the wonderful things that you'll learn about our history and be able to touch these things, that you remember that we're here today because of all of the leadership that through our presidents and throughout all of the hardships that we have endured as a nation. And that's why we stand here and we celebrate the birthday of Abraham Lincoln, because what he represents to us is a movement in our history that brings us to where we are today. Okay, so if you could just remember that it's not only sometimes people think of it as a day off from school, you know, and that kind of thing, that you remember also that our presidents, and as we celebrate President Abraham Lincoln, he reminds me of all of these elections and these races that he lost, but he won a very important race in the presidency of the United States of America, where he could make the fundamental changes to bring us to where we are today. So mahalo, aloha. I hope you learn a lot about him. He's a wonderful president, happens to be my favorite president, but and good luck and have a great time on your trip to Washington, D.C.
The Hawaii State Legislature hereby presents this certificate to the Friends of the Library of Hawaii upon the occasion of the opening of the exhibit, Abraham Lincoln, a man of his time, a man for all times. Whereas the Hawaii State Library is in partnership with the Friends of the Library of Hawaii, the Hawaii Council of the Humanities, the Gilder Lehman Institute of American History, and the National Endowment of the Humanities, will present Abraham Lincoln, a man of his time, a man for all times. And whereas considered by many historians to have been the greatest American president, Abraham Lincoln was born February 12, 1809, 200 years ago today, and served as the 16th president of the United States. Born into poverty, his grandfather murdered, and with the passing of both his younger brother and mother at a very early age, Lincoln knew true challenge and adversity, and prior to entering politics, experienced and knew the meaning of manual labor, having worked as a rail splitter and a carpenter. He lost 8 elections before ultimately winning the presidential nomination, founding the Republican Party, of which he became the first president. And whereas upon election he faced seemingly heavy odds as the country he had been elected to lead faced division, destruction, but he persevered to accomplish 2 of the country's greatest achievements, freeing the slaves and holding the Union together. And whereas his life, as noted by scholars and historians, highlights the importance of persevering against the odds, not despairing at setback, his life reflects also the need to navigate carefully while remaining uncompromising as for your fundamental principles. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislature of the state of Hawaii regular session that this body hereby commends the Friends of the Library of Hawaii for their efforts in educating the residents of Hawaii on the monumental accomplishments of one of our country's greatest presidents, an inspirational American icon,